yeah. Don't be stressing on the dumb shit, 'cause God is gonna make a way. Just keep going and keep your faith, so you can win this race. This race called life, yeah, yeah. This race called life. This race called life, yeah, yeah. Race called life. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm grinding 'cause I know that I'm gon' get it. I just gotta have vision, keep faith and be humble. Have some patience with it. I've been A1 since day one, and always on my job. I never been a fake, never had to steal and rob, 'cause I do good business, I'm too good with it. And even though I'm on this road, I'm still daddy to my children. You know I do good with them, and don't like being missing. But I hate when my bills are thicker and my pockets get thinner. But I can't stress up on the dumb shit, 'cause God is gonna make a way. I keep going and keep my faith in my pace, so I can win this race. Win this race called life. This race called life. I'm just trying to win this race called life. This race called life. This race called life, yeah. Race called life. I'm just trying to win this race called life, yeah, yeah, yeah. I keep on running in this race called life, yeah, yeah, yeah. I won't come in last place in life, no. I'm just trying to win this race called life.
Get started in a couple minutes.
This race called life. Girl, I just gotta win this race called life. This race called life. Just gotta win this race called life.
I'm back. Peace to the family. Peace and blessings to everybody. Hope everybody's having a wonderful week. Let me bring myself big on the screen here so y'all can see me. This episode is called Policing the Police. Know your rights. Hold on one second. Let me make sure all my shit public. Can you hear me in the chat? Let me check my sound. Okay, boom. Sound working, everything working. We good to go today. Okay, Policing the Police, know your rights. We got a watch video. We're going to start with this right
ID.
here.
Until then, so why do I need ID?
Because we need to know who you are.
I don't think so. If I've not committed a crime, I'm not giving you ID.
323. Sorry, Jordan. You heard the subject's refusing to provide ID or identify himself.
Am I being detained or am I free to go?
You're not free to go right now.
Okay, so I'm being detained. Can you articulate a crime?
We don't know that you haven't committed a crime
Okay,
yet.
so once you figure that out, I'll provide an ID. Until then, am I free to go?
No.
Okay, so then I'm gonna remain silent then.
Do you ever wonder what it's like to give an officer a shovel and watch them dig their hole during a detention? When detained, you have more control than what is typically perceived. You have the right to remain silent or pick and choose which questions you want to answer. Cops love to explain things, which means you should question them. Questions that challenge the decision and legality of the detention. Questions that will either make the officer think twice about their actions or double down on tyrannical behavior. Video is the ultimate evidence, and Valley Community Watch did not waste any time. Be sure to check him out for the full video and let him know I sent you.
Based out of beautiful Surprise, Arizona, sunny Surprise. I'm gonna do a little First Amendment audit on the Surprise Civic Center here.
Now he's pulling up to the police station right now, okay? What he said he's doing is called a First Amendment audit. Now these people, I'm gonna say these people, the cop watch community, they're out here policing the police. They know their rights. So what he's doing is he's about to go to the police station, get the filming around the parking lot, and try to see if somebody comes out to try to get his ID or violate his rights or tell him he can't film, which he's definitely allowed to film on public property. This is Texas law student Batise, I think that's how you say his name. And he's making a living off of doing shit like this and actually suing the police station. He has a YouTube channel and he teaches you step by step how to file your complaints, how to follow up with internal affairs, how to get your bread pretty much anytime they violate your rights, even if it's something simple. So let's get into this video right here.
It's got its city flags, flag of Arizona. I'm not sure exactly what this is supposed to be honest. But it's this multicolored thing in this lot. You can see back there. That's where they do have some of the squads.
Still filming.
Yes, sir.
Finally, a cop approaches him.
Public taking pictures?
Okay, why are you taking pictures of vehicles?
Just because I'm standing out in public taking pictures?
Okay, do you have any ID on you?
No. Have I done something wrong?
It's a little suspicious if someone's taking pictures of license plates leaving a secure building.
Is that a misdemeanor or a felony?
No, it's suspicious.
Okay. So why do I need ID?
Because we need to know who you are.
I don't think so. If I've not committed a crime, I'm not giving you ID.
3 on 23. You started, Georgia, and I heard the subject's refusing to provide ID or identify himself.
Now, see, some of y'all may think that he's being difficult. And again, what he's doing is called a First Amendment audit. He goes to the police station to get them to come out there and violate his rights. 12 is the devil slave catchers. You funny, man. What's up, Chase the Great, Rise and Shine, man? I hope you're having a good day over there. And what a lot of people don't know is that this isn't Nazi Germany. They just can't come up to you and ask you for your papers. They just can't come up to you and say, hey, we need your ID. We don't know who you are. Like, that's illegal. This isn't Nazi Germany. They're not the Gestapo. They need to get it together.
Yeah, sure. I have no weapons. I have nothing on me. I have my phone in this pocket. That's it. Like I said, I'm out in public taking pictures. That's it.
But again, you're taking pictures of people leaving police vehicles.
Okay.
Police vehicles from a police parking lot.
Okay.
That's suspicious.
Is it suspicious? Is that a crime?
It's not a crime.
Okay,
it's
so then,
suspicious.
am I free to go or am I being detained?
You're being detained right now.
Okay, can you tell me the crime?
We're detaining you because of your suspicious activity.
Is that a crime?
Okay.
Am I being detained or am I free to go?
Provide some sort of ID.
Am I being detained or am I free to go?
You're not free to go right now.
Okay,
no.
so I'm being detained. Can you articulate a crime?
We don't know that you haven't committed a crime
Okay,
yet.
so once you figure that out, I'll provide an ID. Until then, am I free to go?
No.
Okay, so then I'm just gonna remain silent then. I also need your name and badge number, please.
Sure. Officer Britton, 2085.
Your name, badge number, sir.
Ta-da.
Detective Forbrook, 2081.
Thank you.
Let's get it.
Detective Codes 2181.
Thank you.
And your name, sir?
Not giving it.
Oh, okay. Would you feel comfortable in our line of work if you had
I'm
someone
not
who
answering
was,
any of your questions.
And I'm going to break this down after I let it play through. It's only a couple more minutes.
Someone's en route. Quick.
Huh?
Someone's en route. I'm not sure who. You can make this a lot easier if you would just explain what you're doing here and let us know who you are.
Sir, I told you, I am out taking pictures in public. That's what I'm doing.
Right.
I walked all around the Civic Center taking pictures. This is the most advanced place in all of Surprise. I went to take pictures. I'm a photographer.
Okay.
Am I not allowed to do that?
The information I was given was that you were standing outside of our gate.
I was.
Okay.
Is that illegal? I was on a public sidewalk. I never entered your facility.
If you were a police officer,
I'm not a police officer.
if you were,
I'm not.
Would you find that concerning?
I don't understand what you're trying to say here, because a person standing on public facility,
Can I ask you a question?
you can ask me anything you want. I'm not going to answer, but you can ask.
I don't know why we're being. I mean, we're just trying to talk here.
Okay,
Right?
this is not a consensual encounter, first of all. I didn't ask for help. I don't need help. I'm standing here taking pictures in
We have
public.
detectives and police officers and other people leaving a secure facility in vehicles
Okay.
that are assigned to us. Some people work as in undercover capacities, and we have a person out recording those as they're leaving vehicles.
Okay, how do I know that?
Well, how do we know who you are?
You don't know
How do
who
we
I am.
That you're not a threat to us, or
Well,
someone they're
if I
gonna
was a
be-
threat to us or threat to you, would I be out here in an orange vest, not trying to hide anything? I didn't run from you. I stood here right when you called me. I'm not trying to run. I'm not a threat. I'm no threat. I have no weapons. I would show you, but I'm afraid if I reach for my hip, something bad would happen. I'm not going to do that. I have no weapons. I have no ill intent.
If you reach for an ID and let us.
Well, I don't have an ID and wouldn't show it to you if I did, because again, I have not
Facts.
committed a crime. If you can articulate a crime, I'll provide an ID. Until then, am I free to go?
Now, what a lot of people don't know is that unless the police can reasonably articulate a crime that you just committed or are about to commit right now, reasonable articulable suspicion is called RAS. They can't just come up and ask you for your ID. This isn't Nazi Germany. They're not the Gestapo. They just can't pull up on you like, let me see your papers. Who are you? What's your name? You know, it's illegal. We have rights, and if you don't know your rights, you can't stick up for them. You know, that's the sad part. Let me go ahead and let this
You're
finish.
not free to
playing.
go at this time.
So I'm being detained.
It's investigative.
I'm being unlawfully detained. Yes or no? You're detaining me
you're not
unlawfully.
You're not being unlawful.
Sir, you're unlawfully
Smash
detaining
that
me.
like button.
Do you
You're in the
suspect
course
me of a
committing
crime?
Suspicious activity. That's legal grounds to detain you.
No, it is not.
There's no law to provide identification.
If I have committed a crime, read the law. You have not suspected me of committed a crime. I've committed no crime. You have no idea that I'm going to commit a crime.
You're
Therefore,
also
you have
offering
no
no
RAS.
explanation
I don't have to explain anything
for
to you.
extremely suspicious
I have
activity.
to explain to you nothing.
You really do when you're taking pictures.
I don't have to explain anything to you. When standing in a public space, anything I can see from public, I can take pictures of. That is my First Amendment right to do. And there's nothing that you can do to stop that. And you can't make a lawful activity suspicious. I'm sorry. If it makes you uncomfortable, find a new line of work. Because I'm not going to stop taking pictures because it makes you uncomfortable. I'm sorry. So unless, again, I'm being detained, I would like to be free to go.
So is that the rationale? You're just trying to make us uncomfortable?
I'm not trying to do anything. I'm trying to take pictures in public. You came out.
Pictures of people's license plates?
How do you know I took pictures of people's license plate? I can walk down the street and see a license plate. What does that mean to anything? See, I'm turning over to this guy right here. Look, he's got a license plate. What does that mean? I can walk by and see a license plate. That information is not accessible to the public. I don't know what this means. I can't look up somebody's license plate online and get anything from that.
I think you're being a little disingenuous if you don't think this is
Sir,
a little suspicious. Or a
Are
normal
license
person.
plates accessible
Or
to the
that a normal
public?
person wouldn't find this a little
Okay.
suspicious.
Well, I don't care if they find it suspicious, because suspicious is not illegal. And again, am I being detained?
You are.
Okay.
You're not free to leave right now.
Okay, well then I'm going to remain quiet. I'm not answering any more questions.
Okay.
First Amendment protected activity, and they find it suspicious, everyone. So I'm going to reach for my phone, and that's it.
And this is what they do on a daily
my
basis.
Pocket, okay?
Because
You got
most
it.
people don't
Just a cell
know
phone.
that unless they can reasonably articulate a crime you just committed, you don't have to give them ID. You don't have to deal with them. They can't just walk up to you like this is Nazi Germany and ask for your papers.
So again,
and I've
am I
executed this.
being detained, or am I
numerous
free to go?
times.
You're being detained at this time.
Okay, can you articulate a crime?
The reason we're detaining you is because you're conducting suspicious activity.
Is that a crime?
We don't know that yet. You're refusing
Okay.
to speak to it.
I am not refusing to speak to you. I said I'm out taking pictures in public.
You're refusing to provide any kind of ID.
I don't
Let us
have
know
to
who you
provide
are.
an ID if I'm not suspected of a crime. That is a law, sir. It's a First Amendment protected
If
activity.
you'd like to eliminate the possibility of, in our minds, that you're committing suspicious
I am
activity.
a suspicious
Hey, how you doing?
activity
How you
is
doing?
not a crime.
How you doing? I'm Lieutenant
Hi.
Robertson.
Can I have your
I've
badge
already
number,
identified
please?
myself.
Your
Lieutenant
badge number,
Robertson,
please.
2029.
Thank you.
All right, you can go ahead and leave, but you have to realize that it does look suspicious.
I
You're
don't
out there
have to
recording.
realize that, sir. I'm glad you say I can leave.
Have a good day, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys have a nice day. Stay safe. Thank you.
Now y'all see how that went? if you're in the chat, what's up, Diane? Yeah, you know they got me on restriction on my regular YouTube page, so you're probably watching this from my backup page right now. Yeah, that you were telling me take that COVID video down. I must have said something in there that they didn't like, because the other stuff I put up before that they let go through, but that one, like, something still is pissing them off about that video. So I'm gonna go back and cut it up into shorter clips and see what I can get past after my little 7-day restriction is up. So I'll be back on Astro Projections 369 next week. I'm glad you subscribed to my backup channel though. That's funny. That's good that you did that. You said, "Hey, I like your." I can't read that right now. Why can't I see that? The video's blocking it. Hey, I like your bartering necklaces for the future. Oh yeah, anytime you need any custom jewelry, make sure you hit me up and go to my Instagram, the1 Team FYJ. That's my business page, A1 Team FYJ, and you can see everything I've done, over the course of the last maybe year or so. Okay, back into this though. Let's get focused. Let me show you exactly who this guy is, because he's made the news several times before. He's a Texas law student. His name is Batiste, and what he does is called the First Amendment audit. He goes up to the police stations filming. Usually somebody comes out, tries to ask him who he is, what his name is, and tries to get his ID, which he doesn't have to provide. And usually the situation escalates from there.
An arrest by Galveston police is raising questions tonight. The defendant describes himself as a video activist.
Yeah, officers picked him up after he recorded them. Now there are questions being raised about who crossed the line in this. Was it the photographer or the police? Doug Miller in Galveston looking for answers.
Do you have a state-issued driver's license? I don't want to answer any questions.
What you're seeing here is admittedly amateur video. That's part of the point. Galveston police officers questioned a young man standing on a public sidewalk shooting video of a police station.
Let me get your name.
Like I said, I'm sorry.
So you're not going to identify yourself?
I'm showing you that I didn't do it.
You're not going to identify yourself?
No.
Okay, go ahead and put your hands behind your back.
I was filming, taking pictures out in public.
Philip Turner bought a camera on eBay and started traveling around Texas shooting videos of police stations just to prove something.
Photography is not a crime, and everyone can do it, and there's nothing wrong with it. As long as you're in a public place and in a public setting, out in the open filming, there's nothing wrong with that.
Turner was arrested after he refused to identify
So
himself.
if the cops ever tell you, if you're ever in a public place and the cops tell you that you're not allowed to record, to turn your camera off or put it down, you don't have to. And they just violated your rights right there. Continue filming. If you follow up on these episodes, this is episode 1 of Know Your Rights. I'm starting a whole little episode series called Know Your Rights. I'm going to stream it back on my channel next week on the Astro Projections 369, Diane, because that little 7-day restriction they just put me on. But if you keep up with this, you're going to fucking learn your rights, because not only am I going to show you the videos, I'm going to actually pull up the penal codes for the states that people are in, and we're going to break this shit down and go over it. So, they tell you ignorance of the law is no excuse. But then when you know the law, they get pissed as fuck. Isn't that funny? Shit's fucking crazy. Let me go ahead and let this finish so that way you can see who this guy is.
Says he didn't have to. And our legal analyst says he's right. The Texas Penal Code says, quote, a person commits an offense if he intentionally refuses to give his name, residence address, or date of birth to a peace officer who has lawfully arrested the person and requested the information. Notice the law says nothing about giving your name before you're arrested.
And we're about to go over this again. Before you are arrested, if they haven't said you're under arrest, you do not have to provide ID. This isn't Nazi Germany, and they can't just walk up to you asking you for your papers. They are not the Gestapo. This shit doesn't work like that. And Diane, you are right. Our rights are going down slowly. We saw the Democrats and Joe Biden and them trample all over our rights since they've been in office, with the censoring of different posts on Facebook. They're attacking free speech. They're attacking journalism. They got people scared to tell the truth about what's really going on. Yeah, our rights are slowly dwindling. And like they say, ignorance is no excuse. You got to read the fine print. If not, how else would you know what's going on? Most people, not you. We are like the frog boiling slowly. Man, this shit's crazy.
Germany does not show me your papers.
After Turner was jailed, he says officers trying to figure out his identity took his keys and used the remote to find his car.
So they locked him up on this one. I'm going to actually show you his YouTube page because he shows you how to get paid every time the police violates your rights. He shows you how to file your complaint, how to follow up, how to file a suit with your civil lawyer, how to file a civil suit, and how to get this shit rolling. I'm about to go out here next week and see if I could get some bread or see if I can get these motherfuckers to fuck with me. And I'm gonna film the shit. And if they violate my rights, I'm about to get this check and I'm about to do the same shit they doing. Yeah, we can't even say anything about the jibby jab. Well, the restrictions on talking about the vaccine have lightened up. There was something specifically I said in that video that they didn't like, and I think I know what it was. I don't want to repeat it on this one. But yeah, they're attacking free speech. They're attacking the freedom of press. You know what I'm saying? They got people feeling like it's Nazi Germany. Like if they could walk up to you and ask you for your papers, like you have to produce them. Like it's not like that. They have to reasonably articulate a crime that you are about to commit.
Turner says dash cam video shows officers entering his car to get his wallet. A friend of his who'd staked out the car shot it from another angle. In fact, that same friend later shot his own video of the same police station.
The only difference between us was that he was black and I'm white, and I'm not one to play the race card. Okay, but it was fairly obvious what was going on.
Now the whole incident is under investigation.
He was arrested for failure to identify. He was arrested because he would not produce identification, and the legality of that is going to be determined through a Galveston Police Department internal investigation.
And now all the videos.
See, what they were trying to do was intimidating him into producing his identification, assuming that he was ignorant and didn't know his rights. But as I just showed you a few seconds ago, according to Texas Penal Code, you don't have to show identification until after you've been arrested. You feel me? So I've been to court many times with a family member. I've seen the corruption for myself. It's all about the mighty dollar. Yes, these people are nothing but revenue collectors for the state. You know, that's what I call police officers. I never address them as officer or none of that. You know, they get paid by us to work for us, and all they do is run around picking on us. You know, when you go to the courthouse, it's a one-way door for money coming in and none coming out, you know. And they will lock up grandma for a fucking ticket. You feel me? Like they don't care. They'll put her in jail, let her get evicted and lose everything. Like these people are complete leeches of society and they don't produce anything. So that's why they have to prey on other people. Like the shit is really sad.
Are up on YouTube for the whole world.
So this is him getting arrested for not showing his ID, which they just violated his rights right there. I didn't pull up the videos of him on this episode showing how to file lawsuits, how to file your complaints, how to get the money, etc. That's going to come later in the series, this Know Your Rights series that I'm doing. And again, I'm going to show you his page so that way you could check him out yourself. And, you know, you may get ahead of me, which is amazing.
That young man
I suggest
from
you do,
Austin who came
definitely.
here to Galveston to take pictures of this monument and the police station is part of a national movement called Photography is Not a Crime. He is scheduled to return to Galveston later this month for a court appearance, and no doubt he will bring his camera with him. Reporting live in Galveston, Doug Miller, KHOU 11 News.
Yeah, dude is a beast for real on this law shit. And studying him, I've been studying him for like 5 years. You know, he taught me a whole lot. Let me pull up. I just slapped this little presentation together. I wasn't really ready for real. But I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm about to go live. It's not like I don't know the shit. I usually go over and give it a little bit more preparation, but let's get it started. Okay, did it pop up? Boom. Okay, this is his YouTube channel. So if you want to check out the guy who you were just watching, who's been on the news several times, his channel is the Batise. I don't know why he called it that. But this is where you can follow him at. So make sure you subscribe to his channel. Had to give him a shout out because this guy has taught me so much, and the information that I've gotten off of this channel has kept me out of so much trouble. Know your rights. Okay. Now let me make sure. Let me see what y'all see. Okay, boom. Everything's working. Okay, know your rights. Being stopped by police is a stressful experience that can go bad quickly. And I got this offline from the ACLU website. So, let me make sure I get a credit to them. So if you want to go look this up and read further into this, you can do that as well. I always give away my sources, Okay, let me start from the top. Know your rights. Stopped by police. Being stopped by police is a stressful experience that can go bad quickly. Here we describe the law, what the law requires, and also offer strategies for handling police encounters. We want to be clear. The burden of de-escalation does not fall on private citizens. It falls on police officers. However, you cannot assume officers will behave in a way that protects your safety or that they will respect your rights even after you assert them. You may be able to reduce the risk to yourself by staying calm and not exhibiting hostility towards the officers. The truth is that there are situations where people have done everything they could to put an officer at ease and still ended up injured or killed. Okay, so I guess that's a little disclaimer. Let me bring myself big back up on the screen, especially with everything that's been going on lately. The Tyree Nichols situation, like shit like that. Like, and it's okay, I'll tell you a story. Let me tell you a story to explain this. Because I was arguing with one of my homies about this shit. I'm pulling up this law shit, showing him what the law says. And I'm teaching him this stuff. And he's like, that shit ain't gonna work. Like, it's the law. What the fuck do you mean it's not gonna work? Like, what are you talking about? Like, so we going back and forth. And he's like, that shit ain't gonna work down here. They can do whatever the fuck they want to. I'm like, they only can do whatever they want because you guys don't file complaints and follow up with them, which we're going to get into how to take care of that shit today too. The no snitching shit does not apply to police. Tell on them motherfuckers. If as soon as the police violate your rights, you got a chance to get paid. So if you're not following up, you're doing yourself a disservice. And anybody else who encounters them, you're doing them a disservice because we need to start documenting this shit. They keep a track record of all of this shit. So eventually, if some fucked up shit does happen, they'll be like, damn, nigga, you've been violating motherfuckers' rights for a long time. Look at all these complaints we have. If y'all don't file, they keep the metadata on you. We need to start getting the metadata on them and making sure, we take care of that. Okay, Diane says, and a court-appointed attorney is a joke too. In the end of the day, you'll pay as much as if you would have hired one yourself. And they're just trash. I mean, the lawyers all are part of the Bar Association. You know what I'm saying? They have to take an oath and a pledge to the Bar Association, which is the Bar Association of England. They get their check. The lawyers, judges, and the prosecutors all get a check signed by the state if you're dealing with a PD. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to recognize that's a conflict of interest. The person representing you can't be paid by the same people who are against you. So it's just a weird system. Anytime I go to court, I represent myself. I wouldn't even say it's pro se. Usually I just challenge the jurisdiction and get my shit thrown out because I'm not doing anything illegal. The only way they can really bring me to court and proceed, they need damaged property or injured party. Because anything else, I'm about to get thrown out without even making a plea. Because that's how cold I am with this shit. Thanks for the ACLU website. I am sending it around. Oh yeah, we're not done. We're about to get into this ACLU right now. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that heart button if you in the chat, share this so that way everybody can get this information. You never know who might need this. This might keep somebody out of jail or keep somebody alive, just being able to assert rights that they didn't even know they had. Let's keep it moving. And this is all from the ACLU article right here. I went and copied the whole thing for you guys. Okay. I've been stopped by the police in public. this is what the ACLU is letting you know your rights are. You have the right to remain silent as soon as you are stopped, okay? Let me bring myself back up on the screen because there are a couple of things I want to explain to you that it doesn't say in here. A couple of situations and a couple of different scenarios. Okay, let's say the police pull up on you. As soon as the police walk up to you, say, hey, you, or something. The first thing you need to ask them is, if they start talking to you, ask them, am I being detained? Okay, you need to make the distinction whether you're free to go or whether they're holding you immediately as soon as they start speaking to you. Okay, what you need to understand is if you're detained, being detained is the same thing as it's essentially called custodial arrest. Okay, you're not allowed to leave. You're under investigation, so that's 2. Everything you say at that point can and will be used against you, even though you haven't been read your rights. Okay, and you need to understand that they're not going to tell you that. They don't read you your rights until they put you under arrest. But everything you say under custodial arrest or while you're being detained can and will be used against you. So at that moment, you do have the right to remain silent. Like I say, make them do their job themselves. Do not help these motherfuckers in any way, shape, or form, even if you aren't doing anything wrong. I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm always legit and I'm always shooting straight and narrow. And when they come up to me, I still exert my rights. Because once you start waiving them, it's like it never ends. They're going to keep pushing and want more and more and more. It gets, I was about to say something crazy, but no, you have to stop them at the first inkling of them trying to violate you. So that way it doesn't escalate into something more. A second thing, always pull out your camera because you need to have documentation and evidence of this shit. If you're not doing it on film, you know what I'm saying? Again, you're running the risk of getting injured. They might wild out, try to say something else happens. So film is always important. Let me go ahead and finish reading this. Where was I at? Make sure you hit that like button and hit that share button. Okay, you have the right to remain silent. For example, you do not have to answer any questions about where you are going, where you are traveling from, what you are doing, or where you live. Okay, and this is from the ACLU website. If you wish to exercise your right to remain silent, you do have to say that out loud, though. When they walk up to you, you can't just act like a deaf mute because they're going to say that's suspicious and they're going to think that you're trying to instigate the situation or what's the word? That's just going to trigger them. Okay, so don't do that. You still have to answer some questions, but you don't have to answer questions pertaining to what's going on or like where you're coming from or where you live. If they ask you, are you okay? You can say yes. Things, basic questions. In some states, though, it says you may be required to provide your name if asked to identify yourself. Okay. So in some states, they'll ask for a name, but you still don't have to provide ID and you don't have to provide social or full name. You can just give them your first name. And an officer may arrest you for refusing to do so. Which we're about to pull up all that shit for every state and show you which states this is in. And when I actually Google each state, it actually came up that this is only after the arrest. This isn't prior to the arrest. So you do not have to consent to a search of yourself or your belongings, but police may pat your clothing if they suspect a weapon. So when the police pull up on you, they're not allowed to just search you. They're not allowed to go in your pockets. If a police officer tells you, can we search you? Say no. They are allowed to pat you down, though. They're not allowed to go inside of your pockets. This is fucking state law across America, okay? So don't let them do that. And again, all of this is off of the ACLU website for anybody who just joined. I copy and pasted the article, and I'm just going over it real quick. Okay, where was I at? And if you're in here, make sure you smash that like button, hit that share button for anybody who might want this information. Note that refusing consent may not stop the officer from carrying out the search against your will, but making a timely objection before or during the search can help preserve your right in a later legal proceeding. So And again, this is what I always tell people. I tell the officers this. I say, hey, you know, you're a grown man, officer. I can't stop you from violating my rights today. You know, you can do whatever you want to me. You can pull me out this car, beat me up. You can search the car, even though I say you can't. You know, you can violate my rights, but that doesn't mean that I'm saying this so backwards. How do I tell them? I say, you can do anything you want to me because you're a grown, I can't stop you. You know what I'm saying? But that I am going to exert my rights and stand up for my rights. You're not going to make me tell you where I'm coming from. You're not going to make me tell you where I live. Now, if you want to violate my rights and take me to jail for that shit, go ahead, because I'm going to sue you and fucking get paid. So that's how I'm looking at it. Like, you can't, the police can do whatever the heck they want. So make sure you use this shit at your own caution. But the people that I learned it from said, if you know your rights and don't stick up for them, you're a supreme coward. To know your rights and not stand up for them makes you a fucking supreme coward to me. There's no way to put it. Yeah, we just tell them to mind their own business. Yep. And I'm going to pull up some more videos to show you that that's actually what people do, and it works sometimes. And this is crazy. It sucks that I'm doing this in the wake of this whole Tyre Nichols situation, because it's still a touchy subject to me. And I mean, if a cop's going to kill you or fuck you up, he's not going to do it for not giving your ID. You know what I'm saying? For sticking up for rights that actually exist. If he was going to kill you, he's going to fuck you up and kill you anyway. That has nothing to do with it. So, you know, don't be scared to stick up for your rights. To know your rights and not stick up for them makes you a supreme coward out here. If you are arrested by police, you have the right to a government-appointed lawyer, and if you cannot afford one, they will provide one. You do not have to answer questions about where you were born, whether you're a U.S. citizen, or how you entered the country. Separate rules apply to international borders, airports. Okay, and that's different in Florida, because you do have to answer that question in Florida. Well, upon being arrested, of course. Prior to arrest, you don't have to tell them shit. You don't have to say anything to them. They know that. They're just hoping you don't know that. Okay, now if you're in Ohio, I'm in Ohio right now. So I pulled up the laws for Ohio for the people who are in Ohio. Drop what state you're in the chat, because I want to pull up everybody's, so that way everybody can get this information and readily memorize this. Because when I'm in Ohio and a cop fucks with me and asks me for my ID, and I'm like, no, I'm not giving you my ID. I don't have to. And they're like, yes, you do. I say, excuse me? ORC 292129, failure to identify, says if you don't have reasonable articulate suspicion of a crime I just committed, I don't have to provide that for you. And they usually go, oh, you know, once you start quoting ORC codes, those are the codes that they're riding around executing and trying to give you fines for. Once you start quoting that shit, they know they got the right one. Every time I do that in Ohio, the cops usually throw their head back and they leave me the fuck alone from that point on. Because nobody's walking around with ORC codes memorized. It's an easy code to memorize if you're in Ohio, though. It's ORC 292129. Like I say, it's just too easy to remember. There's one for every fucking state. So you need to look this failure to disclose personal information or failure to identify up for the state you're in. And if you drop the state you're in the chat, I'll pull it up for you. But yeah, this is what you have to do to stay free. I'm not sure if you guys can read that. Yep, you can. Let me take myself off the screen so I'm not blocking it. And let's get into what Ohio says. It says, no person who is in a public space shall refuse to disclose the person's name, address, or date of birth when requested by a law officer who reasonably suspects either of the following. Now, you kept hearing me say they have to have reasonable, articulable suspicion of a crime you're about to commit. So if you're in Ohio, this is no cap. I'm literally showing you the shit right here. So when people tell you that shit ain't gonna work, or that motherfucker ate one crazy, or he tripping, tell him, no, that motherfucker actually be reading. He reads the fine print, and y'all don't be knowing shit. And why the fuck would I listen to a motherfucker who don't even read? People literally try to talk me out of doing this shit when I first came upon this knowledge. Like, you're crazy. They're gonna lock you up. They're gonna fuck you up. I've been using this shit for 5 years and it works every fucking time. Every fucking time it works. Just like I showed you in the video. Now, if you're in Ohio, it says they need reasonable articulable suspicion that the person is committing or has committed or is about to commit a criminal offense. Okay, if they don't have that, you do not have to provide identification for these revenue collectors for the state, because that's all they're trying to do is get your ID, run your name, hope you have a warrant so they can take you in. You know what I'm saying? You could be standing in your front yard barbecuing, and they'll walk up to you, hey, sir, what's your name? I don't have to give you that. You know, and it sucks that, you know, we out here ignorant as fuck. Ignorant as fuck. I was ignorant for over 30 years. You feel me? It sucks, you know, and this information was out here and I didn't know shit about it. Let me pull up another video real quick and show y'all another fire ass video of him shitting on motherfucking cops. Presents video. Downloads. Damn, where'd the video go? No, you know what? Let me play these for you. What is reasonable?
If police have reasonable suspicion to believe you're involved in a crime, they're legally allowed to detain you for a short period of time. Reasonable suspicion requires less evidence than probable cause, but it basically means the officer has some specific reason to believe that you're up to something. For example, police can legally stop someone who matches the description of a criminal suspect. A suspect who drops a suspicious object after seeing the police, or someone who runs away after seeing the police. Don't ever run from the police. That's part of what the officers can use for probable cause, and they'll run you down and make you regret it. But if you see police approaching, be calm and assert your rights if need be, but don't run. If they have reasonable suspicion to detain you, police may pat down the outside of your clothing to check for weapons, but only if they have a basis for suspecting that you're armed. If they feel a hard item that might be a weapon, the police may pull it out of your pocket to check it out. Police may ask you to show them what's in your pockets. Remember, you don't have to do it. Emptying your pockets is the same as consenting to a search, and you always have the right to refuse. In your case, there appeared to be no basis to justify their stop and frisk.
And again, this was from knowyourrights.org. I got this video from flexyourrights.org. And if you need any legal representation, you can definitely hit that website up too. They definitely have some lawyers and shit like that. But that's what reasonable suspicion is. They have to be able to verbally tell you a crime they think that you're about to commit right now if they want to ask you for ID or try to ID you. They cannot just walk up to you and ask you for ID. This isn't Nazi Germany. They're not the Gestapo. There's a second part to that video. That was the reasonable articulable suspicion. So that was a lawyer explaining what that is. Now let me explain. Let me show you a lawyer, same guy, explaining.
What if police come up to me just asking for ID?
What if police come up asking for ID?
Hey, hold up, man. Let me see your ID.
Carrying an ID is required when you're driving, but there's otherwise no law requiring you to carry an ID. But in some states, police can require you to give your name if they have reasonable suspicion to believe you're involved in criminal activity.
How do you know if police have reasonable suspicion?
Remember, police need reasonable suspicion to detain you. So one way to tell if they have reasonable suspicion is to ask if you're free to go.
Yep.
Hey, hold up, man. Let me see your ID.
Excuse me, officer. Are you detaining me or am I free to go?
Just want to talk to you, man. What's your name?
Are you detaining me or am I free to go?
I'm not detaining you, man, but
I promise I'm clean.
For sure.
Now, if you ask an officer that and they say you're not being detained, you immediately need to do a 180-degree turn and walk the opposite direction. Don't say another word. If you're not being detained, that means you are free to go and you don't have to speak to them. So as you see, as soon as the officer finally answers, no, I'm not detaining you, he gets the fuck up out of there. And let me play that scenario one more time so you can see how that goes.
So one way to tell if they have reasonable suspicion is to ask if you're free to go.
Hey, hold up, man. Let me see your ID.
Excuse me, officer. Are you detaining me or am I free to go?
Just want to talk to you, man. What's your name?
Are you detaining me or am I free to go?
I'm not detaining you, man, but
I promise I'm clean. Don't got
I
time to
promise.
chat. Gotta go.
I promise. Dipped on him.
What if they don't let me go?
Now, see, this is why knowing your rights is important. Because what if a cop walks up to you to try to ask you for your ID like that? They're not detaining you, but you don't even know to ask. Now you're sitting in there engaging with these motherfuckers who can possibly fuck you up or throw you in jail when you don't even have to. Knowing your rights is important, man. So shit's sad.
Then you're being,
especially in the wake. I don't want to say in the wake of the Tyree situation because he didn't stand a chance, and I still think that was a whole different situation altogether. I think they targeted him. I saw different posts online saying that they were dating the same girl, but I haven't been able to actually confirm that myself. But hopefully the people prosecuting those people will bring that shit to light if that's the case.
detained because the officer thinks there's some reason to suspect you of a crime.
Let's see some ID.
Excuse me, officer. Are you detaining me or am I free to go?
Turn around, put your hands up on the wall.
In that situation, you could be arrested if you refuse to reveal your identity. Technically, police can't make you identify yourself anytime they want. But on the street, withholding your identity frequently leads to a detention or even an arrest. If your goal is to just get the encounter over with, then identifying yourself might be your best option. But if you're prepared to fight things out in court, you can flex your rights by refusing to cooperate with random ID requests.
Flex your rights. You know what I'm saying? No time has flexing my rights to refuse an ID request ever led to me being locked up. Not that it couldn't happen. I'm actually waiting for the day that it does, because the day that it does happen is the day that I'm going to get a check from them. Like, I want them to violate my rights and go past that and say, we're taking you downtown or whatever the fuck. We're taking you to the police station. You don't want to give us your name. Like, you haven't given me reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime that I'm about to commit. So I don't have to provide ID according to ORC 292129. Now, maybe I shouldn't sound so smart and say that shit to them every time. And, maybe they would violate my rights. I actually come off too articulate. I'm way too calm when I deal with them because I'm not scared of these motherfuckers. So, yeah. And I hope that taught you something today. Let me pull up another. No, you know what? Let me go to my slideshow. Where the fuck is that? Because I know I got some more laws for y'all to look at. Window share. Okay. We already went over the Ohio laws for failure to disclose. And again, you can look up section 2921.29. And everything that I'm showing you and that these lawyers are saying in these videos is accurate to the ORC codes for the state. The First Amendment Encyclopedia, filming the police. Now, for the people who don't believe that you're allowed to film the police, even, when they tell you to put your camera away, you don't have to listen to them. They're not God. Just because they say something, you don't have to do it. We give these people more power than they deserve, and they in turn start abusing it. I forgot who says the saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely. But let's keep it moving. Filming the police. Filming police officers as they perform their official duties in public has become an emerging First Amendment issue. Many cases have arisen where citizens face a range of criminal charges after attempting to videotape a traffic stop. arrest, or other police activity. The issue resonates deeply in American consciousness, particularly as videos have gone viral of police shootings of citizens. Okay. And that shit's small. I apologize. Let me make that shit bigger. Y'all can't even read that. Y'all just watching me. And if you're in here, hit that like button, hit that heart button, hit that share button. Appreciate you. Don't be scared to hit that Cash App up. Y'all flooded my Cash App last episode. I appreciate y'all. Definitely do, because this little program, the stream, is like $50 a month. Then I got to pay for my PowerPoint every month. Okay, let's keep it moving. And did this information come off this website? Okay, no. Okay, now this is actually a website called copblock.org, I believe. And they actually show the states where, let me read it to you. Let me see your ID. In the United States, there's no law requiring you to carry a government ID. But in 24 states below, police may require you to identify yourself if they have a reasonable suspicion that you are involved in criminal activity. So in these 24 states, they have to have reasonable, articulate suspicion that you're about to commit a crime, or you do not have to give them your ID, okay? But how can you tell if the officer is asking for ID has reasonable suspicion? And I showed you guys the videos on that already, so we don't need to go over that. And this is from the same website, policeblock.org. Oh, I apologize. This is not from courtsblock.org. My slides mixed up. That's my fault. This right here goes with the First Amendment Encyclopedia. Okay, so we're about to finish reading that. Courts have recognized a First Amendment right to film police. Several recent court decisions have recognized a First Amendment right to film and record police-citizen interactions. A particular example is Gilk versus Kniffy, if that's how you pronounce that. Simon Gilk was arrested by police after he attempted to record officers' interaction with a young black male on the Boston Commons. After the charges were dismissed, Gilk sued, alleging a violation of his First Amendment rights. The first U.S. Supreme Court of Appeals held that Gilk had clearly established right to film police officers in the public. The appeals court explained gathering information about government officials in a form that can readily be disseminated to others serves a cardinal First Amendment interest in protecting and promoting the free discussion of governmental affairs. The First Circuit said the act of filming police officers was part and parcel of a corollary. That's a hell of a word. Corollary. I could read good, and that word got me fucked up. Corollary. That's funny. I just can't get that word. I'm just butchering this word over here. Okay. The First Circuit said the act of filming police officers was part and parcel of a corollary First Amendment principle that the public has a right to receive information and ideas. So you have every right to record the police when you see them. As long as you're not like interfering or talking to them, they can't hit you with obstruction of justice, which is something they'll try to threaten you with to get you to put your camera down. They say you're interfering with official police business, and you're like, no, I'm standing here on public property. I'm not standing in the middle of your police stop. You're actually over here interfering with what I'm doing. I'm not the one interfering with you. Stop in ID states. You know what? Before we go into this, I'm going to play one more video for you. Since we got a couple people in here. If you're in here right now, make sure you smash that like button, hit that heart, hit that share, so that way your friends can get this information as well. I've seen some shit that said the officer that initiated the stops, baby mama, works at FedEx. Yep, I did see that. I just haven't gone to confirm it myself, so I haven't been running around saying it like it's a fact, because I don't like to put my foot in my mouth. So anytime something comes up, I have to verify it, just like the news would. You know, the news just doesn't just run around saying crazy stuff without verifying it first to make sure it's actually legit. Sometimes, you know, they've backtracked on a lot of shit. So, but that's something I avoid because I don't like looking stupid, and I don't want to have to, you know, backtrack and take down anything. Not saying that's what you're doing, because I'm the one who brought it up. You know what I'm saying? But when I brought it up, I made sure to say allegedly and to let everybody know that I haven't verified any of that shit yet. The officer is also sent a picture to him. Yep. And I just saw this morning that 2 officers from like a whole nother county or another state pulled up to look at the fucking dude beat up after he sent them the video, and then they tried to lie about being there on the scene. So 3 other black officers just got arrested today or yesterday. I saw that they just got arrested. And I'm about to play this video for y'all. Hold on, let me hide this. That's actually what I said. I don't know how true it is. Yeah, I'm going to try to verify that shit later today, because I'm going to do another episode on Tyree and cover the situation. I was busy that week and I really didn't have a chance to go into it the way I wanted to. I did do a podcast on Kamala Harris speaking at the funeral, though, because I don't know who the fuck invited her. Everybody in here right now, my Astral Projections 369 channel, they just gave me a 7-day restriction for this COVID-19 video I did yesterday. So make sure you follow my backup YouTube channel, Trap News Network 369. And you'll be able to catch me going live this week if you're not already on my Facebook. So I see David. I see Robert on my Facebook. Okay, Diane on the YouTube. I like how it let me know who, where, and what they watching from. That's dope. I like this. This little program worth the $50 a month I'll be paying just to sit here and chop it and politic with y'all. So don't be scared to hit that Cash App up, Astro Vibe, $ Astro Vibe Tribe. You know, help keep the lights on around this motherfucker. Keep this motherfucking PowerPoint shit paid for. This PowerPoint ain't cheap. Okay, let me get to this video, because this guy is a beast.
Encounter with a civil rights lawyer, Emmanuel Olawale, in Westerville, Ohio police. Mr. Olawale was throwing trash away on private property where he operates his law firm when 2 officers approached. Note that Mr. Olawale was not detained during this encounter. To prevent an escalated encounter, Mr. Olawale complied and assisted officers in their investigation of illegal dumping.
So they see a black guy using a dumpster.
Your office is here?
And they just pull up on him for no fucking reason. Like, hey, he's out of his car. We can pull up and ask for ID. What if he has a warrant, you know? Again, they're acting like Nazis right now. Like this is Gestapo Germany, and they can just pull up and ask anybody for their papers. I was about to say any black man for their papers because he's black right here, but they do it to people of all races. It's not just black people, trust me. We're not even about to play them little race games like that. Like this shit is across the board. You know what I'm saying? If you're not the rich and powerful, you know, you're subject to have your rights violated at any given point in time, and be aware of that no matter what your skin color is.
Here?
I own an office here.
Okay, which office is it?
The Olawale law firm.
The what?
And he's a lawyer. Now, see, this is why, and he just wants to de-escalate the situation. He's like, man, I'm a lawyer. I got the Tesla or whatever the heck he in. He's like, man, I'm going to just show him my car and get him up out of here. He's doing a bunch of stuff he doesn't have to do right now. And he knows this as a lawyer. And he ends up saying it to them at the end, like, hell, hold up. I don't have to do none of this shit for real. I was really just trying to be nice to y'all. But now that I've given y'all an inch, y'all want a mile, which is why I say you have to exert your rights as soon as they come on the scene, because there's no telling where it's going to stop. Once you start waiving your rights, they think that you're retarded and ignorant and don't even know them. Like, man. But again, you have to use your own discretion with dealing with this because your life is at stake. You're the one dealing with hostile motherfuckers with guns, not me. So I really can't tell you how to deal with it. I just know every time I'm standing up for my rights, every motherfucking time. And eventually I'm going to get paid. And when that shit happens, we're going to do a whole podcast on that too. Let me let this finish.
Here's my business card.
Mr. Olawale offered a lot of information up front and presented a business card that should have dissipated any suspicion. However, he offers to give ID to prove that his name on his business card is indeed him.
160. Okay. All right. Huh?
Show you my ID.
If you don't mind, just so, yeah, if you don't mind, can we see your ID?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
That's a slick business card.
Yep.
Mr. Olawale chose not.
I don't
to
like how he
exercise
said that.
fundamental practice.
Because he said that's one slick business card, but all I heard in my head was, "You think you're one fancy Negro?" Like, that's what came out of his mouth to me. Like, that's how I heard that shit. We're about to run your ID, fancy Negro. And if you got a warrant, we're about to treat you. Man, I don't even want to say it. Let me read this real quick. When the story first broke, I thought it was definitely white officers. Once they released that they were black, I was immediately thinking that this was a personal vendetta. So it does make the FedEx story believable. Regardless, though, it's a shame. So sad that we have to really educate ourselves to make sure we remain safe against the very people that have been hired to serve us. You're absolutely right. One, they haven't been hired to serve you. These people are the only line of defense between the 1% and the rest of society. Because once we realize that the 1% are taking all the money and 96% of the rest of the world is poor, we're going to come for these motherfuckers and spread the wealth. They are revenue collectors for the state. These people are not here to protect and serve. They even started taking that shit off of some of the vehicles. It's all about the mighty dollar. You got to remember, this shit is a business, a business, a business. Every municipality is a corporation. It's a business, and it's ran as such. They have a treasurer, clerk of court, secretary, all of that. It's a business to them, and they have quotas to meet. So what they do to meet their quotas is go around and randomly violate your rights and profile motherfuckers. Well, this is a case of profiling, and we're going to get into that. Let me let this finish.
You should record all police encounters and quickly establish whether the encounter is. Mr. Olawale chose not to exercise a fundamental practice. You should record all police encounters and quickly establish whether the encounter is consensual or if you're being detained. If consensual, then you have the ability to end the encounter and to continue on. However, if you are being detained, you should ask the officer, what law do you suspect me of committing, and what is the reasonable suspicion that you violated such law.
Exactly, because the police are coming up and talking to him. He could have said right there when they said, "Hey, what you doing?" His response could have been, "Am I being detained?" That's the first thing coming out of my mouth. Am I being detained? If not, I'm walking off. These cops are really savvy, and they know how to initiate conversation to get you to follow along instead of asking the questions that you really should be asking. Instead of asking the questions you really should be asking. Like, "Hey, sir, it's a nice day out here." And now you're responding to the cop about the weather. "What do you want, officer?" is going to be the first thing out of my mouth. Am I being detained or am I free to go? I don't want to talk to you about sports, the weather. Don't come over here trying to shoot the bobo, trying to get comfortable. F12 to the fullest. Diane says, "I just can't stand when I see them hiding on the expressways." That's the worst. With their lights off too. They're not supposed to be able to turn their lights off either. That's illegal. They're supposed to be visible. They're not supposed to be able to hide. But again, you'd have to even prove that they were hiding to
Ask the officer to
sue
articulate
them.
facts and question the
Go back to
legitimacy
hair
of
on
those
this
said
video.
facts and to continue on. However, if you are being detained, whether the encounter is consensual or if you're being detained. If consensual, then you have the ability to end the encounter and to continue on. However, If you are being detained, you should ask the officer, what law do you suspect me of committing, and what is the reasonable suspicion that you violated such law. Request the officer to articulate facts and question the legitimacy of those said facts and decline any questioning. You should not have to offer additional information that may possibly be incriminating.
All right. I'll give it to him. You can keep doing what you're doing. We're just, again, we're kind of concerned. Yeah, seeing somebody dump a bunch of stuff there. So.
Now, do you see how they're faking? We were kind of concerned. We saw you over here. It's the middle of the day and he's throwing stuff away in the dumpster. What are you so concerned and what are you in fear of? You see how they be bluffing. They didn't come over there concerned about nothing. They saw a black man and said, we get to go fuck with somebody. He probably got a warrant. Let's go check this guy out. That's what the fuck they were doing. Say, hey, we saw you over here by the dumpster. We were concerned. Get the fuck out of here, man. Bye. Bitch, I don't need no concern. I got a mama. I don't need you to be mom. Go ahead, let this play.
All right. Be back? No, don't run it. Don't run my card. Don't run my ID.
Huh?
Now the lawyer kicks in and finally.
Well, we're going to at least mark it down. We're going to take down your information.
Nope. I'm on my property. Put in trash in mine.
Okay, but this is, wait, this is.
And this is another lie they will tell you. Well, anybody who we talk to, we have to get their information for our records and our reports. Bitch, if I'm not under arrest, you're not getting shit. Get the fuck out of here. Quit trying to trick me into violating, into waiving my rights. Because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get you to give it to them. Because they know if they come take it, like you really gonna get paid. You feel me? So they got to try to coerce you into giving the shit to them by lying to you about what the actual law is. That's why I always just cut the shit short and quote the ORC code for them. Once you quote the ORC code, it kills all of that. ORC 292129 if you in Ohio. I got the one for Florida as well because I'm always back and forth to Florida. So I done pulled up the Florida laws so that way I know exactly what's going on and how to deal with the officers down there as well. And we're going to get into that shortly. Let me let this finish.
Not just your property. It's several people's property.
I understand.
Okay.
But I'm not violating any law. So
no one said that you were violating any law.
No.
If there was no law being violated, then why did the police initiate the encounter? What was their reasoning or true intentions for approaching Mr. Owali? Important questions need to be asked to establish a footprint to prevent a baseless encounter. The officer doesn't bother to verify that the names match and hands over the ID to his trainee to run for warrants, background, and a history check. Every time you identify yourself to the police, a report is generated and saved in their database. This gives officers the ability to fish and look for things unrelated to the initial encounter. I would strongly recommend that you do not identify yourself to the police unless your state provides a legal obligation to do so.
No, don't run my ID. I'm a lawyer. I know my rights.
Okay.
I'm not violating any law. I'm on my property. There's no suspicion. No one called anybody. So don't run my ID. I only identify myself so that this won't escalate.
That's fine, but we can still mark down who we're out with.
ORC stands for Ohio Revised Code. And when you're dealing with Florida, what's the Florida one? I think they have a different name for their shit. It's not like FRC. Florida calls their shit. I think it's just Florida statutes. Yeah, because I say chapter 901, section 151. Florida statute 901.151. And this is the same thing as the ORC 292129. So, yeah, let me let this finish.
And so that's what we're going to do.
No.
Yes.
This stop me. Don't turn this into an issue.
Sir, you are turning this into an issue. We're just simply marking down who we're out with.
Yeah.
So he's just going to write it down on a piece of paper.
It's
Yeah.
just your name. Why?
Because, sir, we are out with you because we were concerned that you were illegally dumping.
But you've already discovered. Do you want me to show you my office?
I understand that you're here, but I don't know if this dumpster belongs to you or somebody else.
You're a lawyer, and it's funny. He's a lawyer, and he still barely read the fine print. He didn't have to go through none of this shit. They would have never had me hassled like this. I wouldn't have showed them shit. Because now you gave them an inch, and they trying to take a mile. Because they think you stupid now. And there's a saying, like, it's like, don't play stupid, because sometimes you can't unplay that shit. You feel me? Or if you smart, just be smart, man. Because if you play stupid to the wrong people, sometimes you can't unplay that shit. They're forever gonna look at you like that. So,
In the
It belongs
complex.
to me.
To you and you alone.
Yes.
Can you prove that that dumpster belongs to you and you alone?
Again, you do not have any obligation to assist officers in their investigation or their baseless claims, no
Yep.
matter how ridiculous it sounds.
If they can't prove it, they shouldn't be over there fucking with them. They should already know what's going on, and they already, man, this shit's crazy. This lawyer actually doesn't sue them, but he does find out that they ran his name after this stop.
This dumpster belongs to the property.
Okay,
and I'm
that's
dumping my stuff in there.
That's my point, though. Is it if it's also other units?
So what? It belongs to everybody. We're paying for it. It doesn't really matter if it belongs to all the units.
That's fine.
Just give me back my ID. Thank you. Thank
Hi.
you. Don't worry, everything is under control. And that's my wife.
Okay, that's fine.
I
Do you want your
understand
card back?
Yeah, I understand you came to check, but trying to run my ID to find anything, no, that's illegal.
That is not illegal. But okay, you can
Yes, the
finish
fuck
stumping
it
if you like.
is. Now you see how I done showed you that it's illegal. The lawyer knows it's illegal. The only people who don't realize that the shit that they're doing every day is illegal are the cops. They really think they're out here serving justice and shit, just randomly pulling up on people like they're Nazis, asking for their papers. And then they gonna mock him and say, so go ahead and stomp if you want. Like, what are you talking about? Like, now you're being disrespectful.
I understand you came to check, but trying to run my ID to find anything, no, that's illegal.
That is not illegal. But
Yes, the
okay,
fuck it
you can
is.
finish stumping if you like.
Thank you.
It's a violation of your First Amendment rights.
All right, just turn around and get out of here, and then we'll look him up.
The officer wrote down Mr. Awali's information and logged a report even after he proved that he had fair use of the property. Mr. Awali believes he was racially profiled,
You hear how
and it
shady
is
these
uncertain
motherfuckers
if he will
is?
file a lawsuit.
You gotta put the keys in first. As they're in my hands.
The chief of police requested an investigation into the incident on July 13th.
And that's how they'll do you. You know, they even violating the rights of a fucking lawyer. You know, so you stand no chance as a regular citizen. You can't give them an inch. I played that video just to show you what happens when you don't exert your rights from the moment they pull up. It starts to get worse and it can escalate. From the moment they pull up, you have to be on your shit, you know, at all times. Okay, I explained that. Let me see what these comments talking about. Yeah, they be hiding on the expressways. Definitely do. Dirty motherfucker. Okay, let me go back to, you know what? I want to play a couple more videos before I go back into the presentation. Because I got a couple of little short clips of, you know, little encounters, police encounters. This is the same black
What do you
kid.
mean one way or the other? Pardon me? What do you mean one way or the other?
One way or the other, if we have to take you downtown and fingerprint you, we'll do that. You're being detained for investigative purposes right now. Believe me, I know the law better than you. We're going to ID you, but until we do that...
He actually doesn't.
There you go. You're not being handled.
And I'm going to show you that cop right there actually got put on a desk because of this encounter right here. And I'm not sure. I know he sued that police station, but I'm not sure what his settlement was on that. I have to go look back up on the website because this was a couple years ago. Like I said, I've been tracking this guy for a couple years. He does this shit on purpose to get them to try to violate his rights, and then he files complaints and lawsuits against the people. So, you know, to me, this is better than the lottery. I need to go take my little camera, you know, and get out there today. You feel me? I need to take my little Canon, little T3i Rebel, and get out there. Okay, I understand. It's an Ohio revision, Ohio revised code. 29. Oh, you were trying to understand what I was saying. I'm sorry. I was saying it so fast. 2921.29, correct. But what does it mean is what I'm asking. Okay. You want to know what ORC 2921.29 means? It's the law for, let me share my screen right here. Make this big for you. Let me explain what ORC 2921.29 is. Go back. Boom. This is ORC 2921.29, failure to disclose personal information. Okay. ORC 2921.29 reads, a person who is in a public place shall refuse. Oh, wait, am I reading that right? Let me start that over. No person who is in a public place shall refuse to disclose the person's name, address, or date of birth when requested by law enforcement officers who reasonably suspect either of the following. I don't like how they wrote that shit in backwards, but we'll rock with it. The person is committing, has committed, or is about to commit a criminal offense. So ORC 2921.29 is saying that you don't have to give the cop your ID unless he can reasonably articulate a crime you're about to commit, just committed, or are about to commit, like pretty much right now. If you're not doing nothing illegal, they can't just ask you for your ID. That's what ORC 2921.29 breaks down. Backtracking a little bit, but it's okay, you know. Like, when do you say it? What's its purpose? Oh, okay. So when a cop pulls up, I've used it in the vehicle. Oh, you get it? Okay, perfect. Like, if you're standing at the park, if you go to like the park where the kids play, you're feeding the ducks and shit, and a cop just randomly comes up to you like, hey, can I see your ID, sir? You say, excuse me? I don't have to give you that. ORC 2921.29, failure to identify, says you have to have reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime I just committed. And you see, I'm not doing shit. Beat it. You feel me? Tell them motherfucker kick rocks. And like I said, I use this shit numerous times. And the cops look stupid as fuck every fucking time, and they've always let me go. I've never had any problems with it. I remember I had a clothing store in Painesville. A cop pulled me over right in front of my clothing store, and I shitted on him with that shit. My 30-day tags flew off because they were paper plates, but I had just got my registration like 2 days prior. He pulled up on me and came to my window all aggressive, like I was Pablo and shit, because my car didn't have plates. I'm like, chill out, dude. Like, I just got 30-day tags. I got my registration in the whip. So hold on. Showed him that. Then he comes trying to, he runs the registration, sees everything's good. Comes back to the car. He starts fucking with me. He's like, so where do you live? I'm like, I gave you my ID already. He's like, well, because my ID said Canton for my Ohio ID. It didn't say like Painesville where I was at. So he's like, well, you said that's your store right there. So where do you live? You don't live in Canton, do you? I'm like, that's none of your business. And he's like, actually, it is. He was like, I'm allowed to ask these questions for my investigation. And then I, quoted this again to him. ORC 2921.29, failure to identify. I don't have to speak to you. I have the right to remain silent. I'm being detained right now. I'm not fucking stupid. Like, I don't know if you're a good cop or a bad cop. And I don't have time to, figure that out. I don't have to volunteer this information to you. So just remember that. I was playing a video, wasn't I? Yep, back here.
I know you're used to this.
I'm gonna start it off.
What do you mean one way or the other?
Pardon?
I'm about to mute my mic and just let this ride, because this is like 10 minutes.
You're being detained for investigative purposes right now. Believe me, I know the law better than you. We're gonna ID you, but until we do that, you're not free to go. There you go.
You're not being handcuffed.
I know
right
you're
now.
used to this going one way based on the YouTube education you've gotten, but that's not how we do it. Okay, we're gonna do this according to our policy and according to law.
It's a public area, sir.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. My name is Philip and I recorded this video back in June of 2015. I conducted a First Amendment audit test to see how well the Austin Police Department knew their own policies. I will break down this video to show my thought process and how I was able to handle this detention. Recording the police can be intimidating. However, by being knowledgeable of my rights and the policy of Austin Police gave me more confidence in my stance. Enough confidence that allowed my lawyer to file a federal lawsuit against the officers in this video. It is perfectly legal to take photographs and video out in public. The City of Austin created a policy to help educate their officers of this very fact. Under Policy 302, Public Recording of Official Acts, the Austin Police Department recognized that members of the general public have the First Amendment right to record video, photograph, and/or audio record APD officers while they are conducting official business or while acting in official capacity of any public space, unless such recordings interfere with police activity. Now that we have a little knowledge of the policy, let's see how APD responds.
Sir, how are you? I'm Officer Tripp. I'm with Austin Police. This is Officer Smith.
How's it going?
What's going on today?
Can you talk or you just don't want to talk?
I make the collective decision not to talk here. Usually what follows after a nice greeting comes the interrogation. Remaining silent does two things here. One, we skip the formalities and dive right into the meat and potatoes. And two, it forces the APD officers to make a decision.
The reason we're out on you is you caused kind of a scare up here, so we're trying to figure out what's going on. So you videotaping for a reason or what's going on?
You're probably wondering why I don't tell the officers about Policy 302. Well, it's not my job to know their job, and it defeats the purpose of this education. We can chalk this up as an expensive training opportunity.
You don't want to talk to us at all, or you just want to videotape?
Yeah, videotaping is all I want to do. In fact, APD Policy 302, Section C states, as long as the photographing or recording takes place in a setting at which an individual has a legal right to be present and does not interfere with an officer's safety or lawful duties, officers shall not inform or instruct people that photographing or recording of police officers, police activity is not allowed, requires a permit, or requires the officer's consent.
Videotaping us is fine. We're just trying to figure out what's going on. We don't have this happen every day, so.
Okay, let's go ahead and ID this gentleman.
Do you have an ID on you at all? Sir, listen. We're trying to cooperate with you, okay? But you gotta cooperate with us. You can videotape all you want, but you're being suspicious right now. We're trying to figure out what's going on. So if you have an ID with you, that'd be fine. We'd love for you to give it to us so we can find out what's going on.
Hey, sir.
Am I doing anything illegal?
Poor Officer Smith. He just wouldn't give in. He actually kept up this one-sided conversation. Once I broke my silence, things went downhill. I gave these officers a shovel and watched them dig their own hole.
Yes, based on
what am I doing that's illegal?
But based on your suspicious activity, we're going to go ahead and ID you. If you have no warrants or anything like that, we're going to go ahead and wish you a good day, and we're going to be on our way.
Am I under arrest?
No, you're not under arrest, but you are being detained. There's no two ways about it.
Officer Shirley stated my activity was suspicious. Under Policy 302, officers are reminded that photograph, including videotaping of places, buildings, structures, and events are common and normal lawful activities. If a person is taking photographs or recording from a place where he or she has the right to be, officers are reminded that this activity by itself does not constitute suspicious conduct. It was also clear that I was detained and that I was required to give ID. Both of these violate 2 and 4 of Policy 302, and that hole is looking a little deeper now.
All right, well, if I'm being detained, y'all can go ahead and do your investigation, but I'm just going to stay here and
that's fine.
Exercise my Fifth Amendment right. Just stay here, and if I'm not doing anything wrong, then there's no reason for y'all to be here.
We're going to go ahead and ID you one way or the other. It's up to you.
What do you mean one way or the other?
Pardon me?
What do you mean one way or the other?
One way or the other. If we have to take you downtown and fingerprint you, we'll do that. You're being detained for investigative purposes right now. Believe me, I know the law better than you. So you can film all you want. You can set it up however you want. We're going to ID you. But until we do that, you're not free to go.
And we're adding 6 to the list. Officers shall not in any way threaten, intimidate, or otherwise discourage an individual from recording officer enforcement activities. I could have easily told these officers their own policy, but again, that is not my job. Police set up sting and bait operations all the time. It's only fair that we conduct our own tests to make sure these officers stay in line. This will conclude part 1. Be sure to like and follow for part 2.
Sorry, y'all. I'm back. I had to go I went to go grab a little weed real quick while I let that play. That was part 1. This is a 3-part video. I want you to see this to the end, because they actually throw this guy in the back of the police car, act like they're about to arrest him, and then they end up letting him go, and he never gives him a name or anything. They end up putting John Doe on the report. And I'm just showing you guys this to prove
Part 2.
what the fuck I'm saying has been right for the longest. And if you don't know this shit, you late.
In order for any of this to make sense, we must follow the rules of regulation. Link to part 1 is in the pinned comment and description below. Let's jump into part 2 as we
please like the video, share the video.
Texas is not a stop and ID state, is it?
Guys, go ahead and frisk this gentleman. Make sure that he doesn't have any weapons on him.
I have no weapons, and I do not consent to searches.
Frisk him, like I said. Make sure he has no weapons on him.
I don't consent to searches.
He can either provide us his information willingly, or we can do it
straight violate
through the ID section downtown.
Under what gives you the authority to do that?
Go ahead and get this done, guys. I'm not going to argue with this guy.
You're violating my 4th Amendment. You know that, right?
Stand up. You do what you need to do, and we'll do it.
And again, this cop got put on a desk after this video came out. They got this cop put on a fucking desk, and this dude got paid for this shit. Every time they violate your rights, you have to file a complaint and follow up with internal affairs. I don't care what it is. If a cop look at me funny, what's your name and badge number? Yep, I'm up there. Fuck it.
What we need to do, buddy.
Notice how Officer Shirley doesn't bother answering my questions. The questions I'm asking requires actual knowledge of the law and policies of APD. I intentionally repeat questions to see if the officers will double down or say something stupid, the same technique used by officers when they interrogate suspects. At this point, I'm not sure if these officers seen audit videos on YouTube, but the ringleader of this circus makes it very clear shortly.
You have anything on you that we need to know about? Knives, guns, weapons?
I have nothing. I'm just holding my hands up.
Put your hands back behind you. You can put the camera down and film us while we're doing this if you want to.
Am I under arrest? That's what I'm asking.
You're being detained. And during the detention, you can be frisked for safety.
If you won't put it down, handcuff him.
Here, I'll put my hands right here. Is that fine?
If you won't do it willingly, handcuff him. Put your hands behind your back for us. There we go.
Put your hands behind your back?
One back here. There we go.
You're not being handcuffed.
I know you're used to this going one way based on the YouTube education you've gotten, but that's not how we do it, okay? We're going to do this according to our policy and according to law.
It's a public area, sir.
Okay, that's fine.
I asked multiple times if I was being arrested, which is key, and a few officers stated that I was not. Texas Penal Code 3802 makes it clear when an individual has to identify themselves, which we will take a look at shortly. If you're in a position that requires your hands being restrained, or if you're being patted down or searched, try to offer to set the camera down in a prime position to capture the search. I have done this numerous times and it worked out very well.
And again, this guy is a professional, as you see, Texas law student.
You have a wallet on you? An ID at all?
Out here making a living off tricking cops into violating his rights.
Which means
If he has an ID, we have every right to we have every right to look at it. It's not an issue, guys.
Come on the back of you. That'll work.
Guess what though? He doesn't have an ID on him.
Interfere with your camera, okay?
So they're like, what the fuck?
You're filming this, and so are we.
They thought they were just gonna go in his pockets, get an ID, and get a name from him.
Relax.
So now they violated his rights knowingly.
What's your?
Now they gotta still try to be nice to him to get his name.
Originally?
Can I answer any questions?
ID is like crack to an ignorant, uneducated officer. They just have to have it. They need their fix. If they don't get their way, it's highly possible they become more aggressive in their approach and resort to show me your papers Nazi-like behavior. These officers were supposed to frisk me, which is considered a pat-down, but Officer Smith decides to go into my pockets to retrieve my ID, which is a violation of my 4th Amendment right. There was no probable cause for the search, and consent was not given, nor was I arrested. Unfortunately for them, I don't carry ID on audits.
When you're stopped and by reasonable suspicion by peace officers in the state of Texas,
sit here?
No, you can stand there for a second until we're finished. When you're stopped by police officers in the state of Texas for reasonable suspicion, you're required to give minimal identifying information, that being your name and your date of birth.
Well, one, that's a lie. Two, I like what he just did there. He asked, "Can I sit down?" Which is something I do a lot whenever the police like pull me over. If I'm out of the car, I don't want to feel like I'm a threat to them. I feel like if I'm sitting down, I can't really be. You can't say that I threatened you, or you got to take. If I'm already sitting down on the ground, you don't have to take me to the ground. You know. And then it's when they made him stand, he grabbed the camera so that way his hands would be occupied instead of idle, so they can't say they thought he was doing some funny type of movements or something weird. So that was a really good move on his part for anybody who's going to get into this First Amendment audits shit. Because I'm definitely about to get into it. If you in my area, let me know. I want to ride with you. We need to do this shit together. You feel me? Let's get it.
So we'll start there.
Well, what pinnacle is that?
I'm not going to argue with you.
I'm just asking.
If he doesn't want to do it, go ahead and put him in handcuffs, and we can do it until we find him on the system. That's the way it goes. Suspicious people, suspicious places, suspicious circumstances. The Code of Criminal Procedure gives us that authority. I've been doing this a lot longer than you've been doing that. So we can go one way or the other. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to get in a debate with you. I know that this makes great fodder on YouTube. I know that it's wonderful to post your videos, and it seems like, oh my God, the sky's crashing down, Big Brother and all that. But we're simply trying to do our jobs. We're going to do that with or without your cooperation. So how we proceed from here is 100% up to you. How do you want to do it?
Here comes the demand and attempt to instill fear in me for not obeying their authority. I knew Officer Shirley was either lying or just completely drunk and ignorant from his 10 badge and gun. Texas Penal Code 3802 makes it clear when you have to give identification in Texas. A person commits an offense if he intentionally refuses to give his name, residence address, or date of birth to a peace officer who has lawfully arrested the person and requested the information. A person commits an offense if he intentionally gives a false or fictitious name, residence address, or date of birth to a peace officer who has lawfully arrested the person, lawfully detained a person, or requested the information from a person that the peace officer has good cause to believe is a witness to a criminal offense. Not many people are willing to challenge officers or may not know their rights. This is why it's important to understand and heavily educate yourself on the laws of your state. Keep in mind this will vary depending on the situation if you're trying to avoid being arrested. Traffic and pedestrian violations are different. When receiving a citation, it's best to give identification. For example, if you're pulled over for a traffic violation, the driver must ID. The passengers don't have to ID unless they aren't wearing seatbelts or committing another violation. I decided to make a stand here because I knew for a fact this detention would not hold up in court.
Am I doing anything wrong? It's just a question. It's just a question.
Set that down?
Yeah.
I know this isn't going
now
the way
you're
you thought
violating
it
my
was
First
gonna
Amendment
go.
right.
I know it's not the way you thought it was going to go.
This is not how it's supposed to go.
Okay, don't fight. You can either put the camera down or we'll take it from you. Now, you want me to make sure it's filming? I'll fix the screen so you can see. Does that work for you? I noticed you didn't want to talk or answer questions unless it was asking questions of us. I found that to be especially interesting.
You're arresting me, right?
No, you're not under arrest. You're being detained. Investigatively detained. If you'd like, I can explain the difference to you.
Texas is not a stop and ID state.
Okay, thanks for telling me the law. Now let me tell you what's going to happen. We're going to detain you until we have been able to properly identify you. Okay. If we're able to properly identify you and there's no warrants or any other reason to hold you, we'll cut you loose, as is our prerogative. As is held by the state of Texas law, the United States Constitution, and, by the way, Austin Police Department policy and procedures. Now, how we proceed, again, I'm going to put it to you. It's up to you. You can either willingly give us your name and date of birth, or you can continue to take this stand that you're taking, which will do you no good other than delaying your freedom to go. So tell me again, do you want to give us your name and date of birth, or do you want us to detain you further until we can specifically identify you and make sure that there is nothing more to this than what meets the eye?
Am I under arrest?
You are being detained. Okay. I've said it again. If you want me to get closer to the camera so I could say it into the speaker, I'll do that. However, I think it's been made clear to you that you're being detained for investigative purposes. You will not be released until we can positively identify you.
Check and mate. This is why I ask some questions multiple times and let officers cop-splain. It's almost like getting a confession in an unofficial deposition. You give them a shovel and let them dig themselves a hole. However, I do think there are some good officers out there who are educated and smart enough to realize that there was no reasonable suspicion of a crime and a detention was not warranted. However, an investigative detention is a bit different. This usually happens when an officer has a reasonable suspicion that a crime is about to be committed or has already been committed. Knowing for a fact that I was well within APD policy and Texas law, the likelihood of them finding a real crime is 0%. Knowing this, I wanted to see just how far they will go with their unlawful actions.
Does that sound like it's clear now? Whether you agree with it or not, are you understanding what I'm saying to you?
You should be familiar with Penal Code 3802. You should be familiar with that.
I appreciate you telling me what I should and should not do.
Okay.
But here's what
based on
we're
that,
going.
If you're still in the room, Robert, right there is where I would say, where you heard him say you should be familiar with this penal code, I would say you should be familiar with ORC 292129. I keep repeating it, and you're acting like you're not privy to this. So that's what he's doing. He's making him aware of the law that he's violating. So let me let it continue.
I'm going to have him sit in the back of the car, and let's go ahead and figure out who he is. Once we do that, we'll go from there.
Step over here.
Here, take his camera. Make sure he keeps that with him.
Yeah, because Robert, it's one thing to sit there and tell them, hey, you guys can't do this, but it's another thing to have that penal code down to the paragraph on that ass, section A, B, whatever. You got to have all that shit. You feel me? If it's 29, 21, 29, section A, ORC says this, officer, he's going to look at you and think twice about his next move. He's going to be like, damn, if he knows that fast off the top of his head, what else does this guy know? Who else does this guy know? May be the next question, because if you have this type of information, now they want to know who you're hanging around, where you learn this type of stuff from, get the capping. I'll be capping on their ass. Like, I'll be like, wait, I guess you could say threatening them. It's not a threat though. But I'll be like, shit, if you want to be on a desk, that's, if you don't like working your job and you want to work a desk, go ahead. I can't stop you from doing nothing. You want to go ahead and violate my rights and search me without me consenting to it? Cool. You must want to work a desk. Do what you want to do, officer. I'm not getting, no, don't, make sure you don't say it like that though, because you don't want to sound like you're consenting. You can't say do what you want to do. You have to say, I don't consent to this shit. I can't stop you from doing anything. If you want to violate my rights, God gave us all free will. But at no time, under no circumstances, do I waive any of my rights at any time. And you say it just like that. It shows you're educated and aware of this BS. I definitely am. My bad. I feel like I'm talking like, I don't know. I just feel like my brain is all over the place. Usually when I watch the podcast back, when I feel like that, the shit still be fire as fuck and I be making perfect sense. It's just, I don't know. I still got to get used to being back live like that and shit. But yeah, I definitely know this shit like the back of my hand. Like I say, since I was in jail with you, bruh, I ain't been back. You know what I'm saying? I've been booked and let out, you know what I'm saying? And then the shit would end up getting thrown out. Like, they've tried to overcharge me for shit that was misdemeanor. You know how they try to overcharge you and make it something that it's not. And then they find out how intelligent I am when I get all the shit thrown out, and the cop actually has to come to court and stand there while the shit happens. Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Now when they see me, it's like they leave me alone for real. You know what I'm saying? If I'm up in Ohio where I usually be. If I'm up there in Painesville and shit, the cops don't fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? I've been riding with expired tags, all type of shit. And they'll run my name. They'll get behind me and let me go after shit like this is happening. They won't even pull me over because they already know what time, they know what it's going to be. And they don't want to keep getting embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? Let's let this finish though. Let me quit bragging and popping shit.
No, we're gonna go ahead and hold on to it.
It's not what I'm here for.
This car is filming. You'll be filmed in the car as well.
Congratulations, brother. I gotta congratulate you on that. I put your comment up, but I'm just not really reading it. Congratulations on not going back, man. I see you doing your thing. You got your construction company. If anybody needs any home repair or construction work done, make sure you get at Penny Son. He does amazing work. He did some shit at my shop in Ohio, and you know I'm referring him to anybody out there. Tell him A1 sent you. And if you are still in here watching, hit that like button, hit that heart, and make sure you share this so everybody can get this information.
No, we're gonna keep you. We're gonna put you in air-conditioned company.
So now, what's going on here is they can't get a name from the guy. They searched him. They hit him with an illegal search, thinking he was going to have his ID on him. He didn't have his ID. They're still trying to get a name. Now they're trying to threaten them like they're going to take him to jail. They're putting him in a car. And let's see where this goes. You're going to be surprised.
Just tell us your name, date of birth. We'll make sure that you don't have any warrants or warrants. We'll make sure that there's no other suspicious activity we need to investigate, and you'll be free to go. If you want to play this out and make a statement, you can go ahead and do that. It's just going to delay you being able to leave freely. All right, there we go.
And again, this dude is a beast. Texas law student. His name is Batise. Let me show you his channel. I'll pause the video again. I just gotta let everybody know who he is, just in case anybody just came in the room, because I've been studying this Texas law student for a couple years now. He has taught me a lot. Damn, where'd the fucking first slide go? There we go. Anybody who's looking for this guy's YouTube channel, he does his own First Amendment audits at police stations, which is what's going on right here. And he breaks down other people's audits, because there's a whole cop watch community. These people are doing this shit in all 50 states. And this shit is what I watch for entertainment. I don't watch cops where the cops chase down regular people, harassing ignorant motherfuckers who don't know their rights. This is the shit I watch for fun. I watch people going out who know their rights, fucking with the police. And then when the police don't do what they're supposed to do, they end up suing them and getting paid. That's the shit I watch for fun. See, we just different. So, you know, don't put cops on around me. I'm going to tell you, turn this ignorant ass shit off. Put on some Batise. Or type in Cop Watch on YouTube. Or type in First Amendment Audit on YouTube. Let's watch that. Let's watch people who know what, you know, police the police. You feel me? Let's get back to that video, though. They're putting them in the car. The tension is thick.
You taking me down?
And he's smiling.
Two things here. One, I wasn't expecting them to double down on their bluff, or maybe it wasn't a bluff, and these guys are actually serious. They actually think they can detain and ID me based on suspicious activity alone. We already know that APD policy has outlined that this activity is not suspicious, and I tried to give them a hint about 3802 and they didn't listen, and our hole just turned into a crater. Oh well, since I'm in a car already, might as well see how far this goes. And two, I can't believe they're using my camera to record this for me. I guess there are some elements to recording in public these officers won't violate. This concludes part 2. Be sure to like and share, as the third and final part will be uploaded shortly.
And part 3 right here, because they're about to let him go.
If you have not watched part 1 or 2, I strongly recommend starting there first. In order for any of this to make sense, we must follow the rules of regulation. Link to part 1 and 2 will be in the pinned comment and description below. The open records requests have been dragging on, so I decided to release part 3.
Figure out who he is. Did he have anything in his pockets that we can kind of identify information on?
Figure out who he is. At this point, there are several things going through my mind. Are these officers seriously doubling down on stupidity with little regard on how the law works? How far do I really want to play this out? Should I just tell them their policy? Nah, screw that. They already dug their hole. No need to give them a way out. They are still recording this entire incident for me. Let me see if they will say something.
I'm sorry, I'm on mute trying to talk to y'all. I said I was just pretty much saying this dude is the GOAT. This dude is the shit. Standing up for his rights the way he is. He's not scared because he knows he's about to get paid. Like, he's happy that they dug their hole so deep. So he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna let him ride it out because I got it all on tape. And he got a mean ass civil lawyer, so he already know what time it is. And again, this is University of Texas law student who they're fucking with. Well, really, he's fucking with. He went out there to fuck with them. Like, all of it, he set this shit up. He goes out there filming around the police station to get them to come out there and try to ID him. This shit's funny. Let me let it finish.
Something else stupid. How far do I really want to play this out? Should I just tell them their policy? Nah, screw that. They already dug their hole. No need to give them a way out. They are still recording this entire incident for me. Let me see if they will say something else stupid.
He know he about to get paid.
Have you ever had an ID issue too?
Can I answer any questions, sir?
Do you see the confidence that you could have when you know your rights? There's no fear. It's like, I know y'all shit better than y'all, which is how it's supposed to be, because all of this shit applies to you. You know, there's a whole fucking shitload of laws that apply to you. And if you don't know what these laws are, like they say, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Knowing how to conduct yourself during a traffic stop is something that it's a skill every black man should have. I think more of us would be alive out here if we exerted our rights from the very beginning, because it would keep them from taking that inch and trying to get the mile up out of us. You know what I'm saying? They would already see, like, hey, this is an educated motherfucker. We don't know who else he knows. And, we don't want to lose our jobs. We need to make this a thing. We need to make filing complaints on police a thing. People don't do it. It's like they're just too lazy. Like I say, if the cop look at me wrong, I'm going to ask for his name and badge number. Then I'm going to go file a complaint. I don't give a fuck. I don't like your attitude. You're talking to me crazy. Anything. Let them rack up on them. The same way they would do you. You know what I'm saying? I apologize. I'm getting a rant. Let me let this man teach y'all. I'll break this down when this last part 3 finishes. I'm going to mute that.
So how are you expecting this to play out? Tell me that.
I mean, until y'all arrest me until y'all find a crime to arrest me.
So in other words, you're just trying to get us to arrest you for no reason. That's pretty much it, right?
That's pretty much what I'm in right now.
No, you're being detained. There's a difference between being detained and being under arrest.
Sorry, I said I was going to mute up and let it play to the end, but the black cop just said, you're trying to get us to arrest you for no reason, huh? That's what you're trying to do. So he caught on to this dude's game finally. And the black cop is realizing what's going on because he heard everything he said. He knows this dude knows the law. You see what I'm saying? So the black cop like, hey, this ain't going on me. And only that white cop who wasn't in uniform with the cowboy shirt on, he's the only one who gets put on the desk here. These other officers are in training, and I'm gonna let this finish.
A detention usually yields an investigation.
Well, y'all can investigate. I'm just using my Fifth Amendment right to be quiet.
But you're not helping us out with this at all.
I have the right to use my Fifth Amendment right now.
How am I expecting this to play out, you say? Well, to find uneducated officers and give them an education they won't forget. These officers are trying to intimidate and pressure me into giving up my rights. What sensible person would volunteer to help the police when they are the subject of an investigation? Why would I help them arrest me by talking? The police are responsible for locating and gathering evidence, and my Fifth Amendment right is controlling the detention contrary to what the camera shows. I have absolutely no duty to assist them in their investigation. I have done and completed my homework. I will not assist them in doing theirs. You will see me talk and then exercise my Fifth Amendment in various parts of the detention. I do this for 2 reasons. 1, to establish dominance during the detention, especially when there is no probable cause or reasonable suspicion. Some officers say some of the dumbest things, and I could subconsciously overreact or say something on pure instinct that would tip my hand. This is an undercover sting operation to see how well they know their own policy, and so far, it's not looking good.
Y'all didn't state any crime that I broke, but I'm in handcuffs.
But you do understand the detention. What do you understand as the detention?
You guys are just holding me, but you got me in handcuffs.
No.
I was perfectly fine right there.
If you know everything that you're supposed to know about the law, give me the law on detention.
You can hold me for whatever purpose, but you have to suspect me of committing a crime.
No.
No?
No.
Nope.
What's your name and badge
Lying.
number?
My name is Officer Smith. My badge number is 6981. The suspicion.
What's your badge number and name, sir? 6173. What's your name? I can't hear you, sir. I'm sorry? I can't hear you. What's your name, sir, and badge number?
It's your trip. And it's going to be on a report, so if you need to get a report number too, you can get all our names and numbers on a report number.
Didn't do anything wrong.
We're not trying to do anything to you that you're not trying to do to us.
Didn't do anything wrong.
Sir, listen. If somebody's walking around your house, even in your house, and you think they're suspicious because they're doing something suspicious, wouldn't that raise an eyebrow for you?
If they're on public property, what?
No, don't even go there.
It is. Was I not on public property?
If somebody's staring at your house.
Was I not on public property? It doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Here we go again with this lame analogy comparing apples to oranges. You cannot compare public and private property. Those are two completely different fruits. This should be a red flag if an officer cannot distinguish between the two. As soon as I found a conflicting argument in his analogy, he told me not to go there. I guess that didn't work out the way he intended. I find it deeply concerning that they believe they can detain people without reasonable suspicion of a crime. There are other ways you can be detained, such as probable cause, but that doesn't apply in this situation.
If somebody's staring at your house, you're going to call a PD to come and check on and see what that person's doing.
No.
The person sitting in front of your house staring through your window. Am I right?
No.
You're not.
I'll be armed, but in that case, if I were to call the police, you guys will probably be too late.
Really?
Yes.
Possibly. You probably walked off. But what if we weren't late? Suspicious person, suspicious activities. Tell me about that law.
You can sit there and ask me questions all you want to.
You're telling me you know the law from here and there. I'm just trying to figure out if you know exactly what's going on.
Well, I'm just going to sit here until y'all finish what y'all doing.
Okay.
I know exactly what's going on. I know that you need probable cause or reasonable suspicion to operate on, and you don't have that. What I didn't know exactly at the time was the specifics of said law. Under Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 14.03, Authority of a Peace Officer, a person found in suspicious places and circumstances which show that such persons have been guilty of some felony. This is probably why they wanted my ID so badly. However, this section also states that a peace officer needs to have probable cause of an offense. Regardless, this will not apply to my detention. Part 6 in this section is pretty interesting. A person who makes a statement to the peace officer that would be admissible against a person under Article 38.21. This pertains to a statement being used as evidence. When being detained, if you so choose to speak, you should always choose your words wisely, and there is a specific reason for that. Why do you think Miranda rights are typically read after you've been arrested? You know that old saying, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in a court of law. Officers don't tell you this in the beginning because they are hoping that you will sing like a canary. Once they gather the necessary evidence or confession for charges, they don't need you to talk anymore. In most cases, it's recommended that you don't talk to police, period. If these officers can't get what they want, let's see how far they're willing to go to intimidate and pressure me.
You can go quick and easy right now if you just give a name and date of birth.
I got all the time in the world.
If not, we're going down to our main station, get your fingerprint and figure out who you are. Because of suspicious activity.
That's a violation of the Fourth Amendment.
Suspicious activity? Are you telling me?
That does not override the Fourth Amendment.
Are you sure about that?
I'm positive.
How are you positive?
Positive.
Well, let me tell you this. I don't know you from anybody else that I'm standing around here with in this parking lot. And with the suspicious activity that you were doing, I don't know if you're trying to do something to the building or if you have some kind of a mental ailment that we need to address or get addressed or some kind of medical issue that needs to be addressed. So in order to figure that out, if you're not cooperating with us, we have to do our best. And like my sergeant also said, we have policy on this.
Why would I cooperate with someone who's treating me like a criminal? Even though I didn't do anything wrong. Why would I cooperate with someone who's treating me like a criminal, even though y'all told me I didn't do anything wrong?
You're being suspicious.
What's suspicious of?
You're videotaping an area of people.
So being in a Sonic parking lot is suspicious?
No, you were not in a Sonic parking lot the entire time.
This right here. Oh, okay, on the sidewalk in front of the station. That's completely suspicious.
If anybody calls in and says, hey, this is weird, we have to investigate.
From on the sidewalk?
It's not something that people normally do. That's what makes it suspicious. If a person driving by here says, look, that looks suspicious, that's suspicious activity.
And they're just trying to talk him into giving up a name, which he's not going to give up, and they're going to end up letting him go.
You want to go down and just do the fingerprint?
Sir, is there anything that we can say or do to
bluffing?
Have you assist us with our investigation?
I mean, if y'all fingerprint me, I'm suing you guys. There's no reason for this.
No.
Y'all didn't even tell me what crime I committed.
Is there anything that we can say or do to have you assist us with our investigation?
Fifth Amendment.
Could you imagine a world where police are called for every little thing that is weird, strange, or if someone didn't like you barbecuing or using a swimming pool? Well, that time is now. Officer Smith said, if people think it's suspicious, then it's suspicious activity. I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Fast forwarding, so
Hey, you mind loosening these up? These are kind of hurting my wrist right now.
They're on as by policy.
I understand that, but can you loosen them up? They're like really hurting my wrist.
They're on as by policy.
Can you loosen them up?
Lean forward. They're not made for
the seat's reclined. I got a seatbelt holding me back, so I can't really lean forward.
Push yourself up.
But that's not helping.
Listen, those things are owned by policy. I put my finger in them just like I'm supposed to.
I understand that, but I'm asking you, can you loosen them? They're really tight.
Yes, sir.
Ow.
I don't know your intentions. You haven't told me any of your intentions. You don't want to talk to us, so I don't know what your intentions are. So I'm not about to put myself in a safety situation by allowing you to get loose and handcuffs.
Well, you got a gun, taser, pepper spray.
I don't use my gun. I've been doing this for way too long.
Well, can you get another officer to do it? Because these are really tight.
Cap.
They're not tight. I put my fingers in them just like I was supposed to make sure you had enough room between your wrists. They're just in the position that you have your hands is making it worse.
Well, the back.
I saw some officers talking behind a cruiser, and I wanted to get a good look at them. In doing so, I might have tightened the cuffs when I readjusted my positioning in a seat. At the time, the officers didn't double lock the handcuffs. Double locking allows you to lock the cuffs down to prevent the detainee from closing the cuffs too tight on the wrists. I'll be sure to keep this in mind for the next time.
Definitely say the next time, because you know we're going cop watching again.
Hanging out, take care of some business.
Hey, ask him what crime he's charged me with.
Some employees from Sonic gathered to inquire about the situation. At this point, more officers were gathered at the back corner of the cruiser talking about the detention.
This video is almost over. I think there's only like 3 or 4 minutes left and they're about to let him go. In a hot ass Texas car. Cuffs on. He a G for that.
Why do I hear boss music? I guess it's finally come down to their final play.
You got anything? Okay, sir. All right. I just want to ask you one more time. Your name and your date of birth.
Here's where they let him go.
Will you please give us that? Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna document this entire stop in a report. It's also documented on our digital mobile audio video. I'm quite aware that you have it documented on your personal camera. We're going to write a report. We're happy to give you the case number. If you'd like to buy a copy of the report, it'll be available to you at any police facility or online for that matter. We're then going to release you from the scene. You're not going to cooperate with us. We're going to have to put you down on a report as unknown or John Doe, whatever you prefer.
Now, that's the same cop that was threatening him in the beginning, saying this is only going to go one way, whether you like it or not. So it's up to you. It's up to you. The cop that was threatening him is now flip-flopping and let them go. Shit's fucking crazy. And they're banking on you not having the balls to wait it out, or just flat out not even knowing that this is the law, because most people don't read the fine print. They say if you want to hide something from a person, put it in the book. And that's, shit. I didn't even get the book to find the laws. I just went on my phone, man. All you gotta do is, my 14. All you gotta do is go on your phone. You can look up all the laws and find out what's going on and stuff that may pertain to you. Let this finish out the last minute.
There, you'll be cut loose. I would caution you, when you find yourself in a position where you're filming a government installation like a police station, you're filming people's plates, you're filming cars, you put yourself in a position where if somebody makes a complaint against you for doing that, it becomes a different situation. It can become a criminal offense if they feel like you're stealing any kind of identifying information.
Blah, blah, blah. This officer's trying to save face, blah, blah, blah. Why do officers feel the need to lecture you every time during an encounter? Do they really need to feel a sense of control or authority even when they know that they're wrong? Everything he is saying is incorrect. There's no expectation of privacy in public. The pain from the handcuffs doesn't compare to the grief that my ears are experiencing.
Us, you can take pictures of our police cars all day long and document on video and everything else, police license plates and everything else, because those are a matter of public record. Now, you're absolutely 100% correct. You're not in violation of failure to ID laws. That was never the point. The point is the police have a reasonable right to stop you based on the Code of Criminal Procedure when you find out to be a suspicious person in a suspicious place under suspicious circumstances. In this case, we have two of those. It was suspicious seeing you outside filming our installation and the plates and the cars and the people coming in and out of the building. And that was a suspicious circumstance based on that. That's why you were stopped. That's why you're ID'd. We could not ID you. We placed you in handcuffs for officer safety, placed you in the car. We can never come to an agreement on getting your ID. So at this point, there's not much we can really do. We're going to have to part ways and go on with our lives. Again, you're more than welcome to any kind of documentation. You can discuss this with anybody else you would like to.
And this is definitely why they should be sued, because they just violated his rights, took up all his time for something they knew they weren't supposed to be doing. And now they're saying, hey, you know what, you were right about everything, and there's nothing we can do from here, so we have to let you go without getting your name. And come to find out, well, I'm going to let him tell the rest of the story about what happens to these cops, because, he is the type he follows up every time.
If you want to complain for anything, that's certainly available to you. And there's plenty of documentation, so the record will stand as it is. Do you have any questions for me? No questions. You will be free in just 1 minute after we take the handcuffs off. Fair enough? All right, very good. Thank you.
Poor Officer Shirley trying to make excuses for his unlawful actions. The lawsuit resulted in these officers paying $5,500 that helped fund the Turnervy driver case. I was only in college during and after the ruling of many of my cases.
Hold on. He made $5,500. That's it. That was a small, they only had him for like 30 minutes. Texas law student going out here, filming the cops, getting them to fuck with him, knowing that he doesn't have to identify himself if he's in a public space and they don't have
Poor Officer Shirley trying to make excuses for his unlawful actions. The lawsuit resulted in these officers paying $5,500 that helped fund the Turnervy driver case. I was only in college during and after the ruling of many of my cases, including the appeal for Turnervy driver. Filing appeals were not cheap, but these lawsuits made it possible. One expensive lesson that will stand forever. I ended up filing a complaint sometime later after this incident, and the findings were equally disturbing as this video. Officer James Bojima with the Austin Police Internal Affairs investigated my complaint and found no wrongdoing. In fact, in his findings, he stated if Mr. Turner just identified himself, then the situation would have ended. I have called numerous times and left voicemails, and Internal Affairs would not call me back. I guess this is what it means to protect their own. I conducted a follow-up audit and they placed this green covering around the exterior of the fence, so I just used my drone to solve that issue. Thanks for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed and learned something valuable from all 3 parts. If you would like to see more videos like this, I'll be looking in the comment section for requests.
See, I've watched so many of his episodes, I got this one confused with another one. Because I thought that he got the cop put on the desk, but I thought that he didn't get any money from this one. But come to find out from this case right here, when he filed the lawsuit, they had to pay him $5,500 for unlawfully detaining him. And the cop didn't get put on the desk. I don't know why I thought he got put on the desk. So yeah, just to show you that when they violate your rights, you can get paid. All you have to do is know how to file the suit and file the complaint with Internal Affairs. Like, this shit is really easy. And again, you know, if you keep up with my channel, follow my backup channel. I'm going live on my backup channel right now. If you in here, I'm not even on my regular page. So, but keep up with me. And, you know, I'm going to be breaking all of this info down over the course of the next few weeks and, you know, teaching this stuff to you guys. Showing you documentation. We're going to go into the fine print. We're going to pull up the laws. You know, I'm going to want people from each state to drop their state, and we're going to break down what's going on specific to where you're at. You see what I'm saying? Like, we're about to get serious with this. Okay. I'm still finish my presentation. I wanted to just end it right there and bring this shit up later, but let me still go over it. So I already went over how they said that it's legal to film in public. You know, that's not illegal. So if a cop ever tells you you're not allowed to film, tell them shut the fuck up. As long as you're in a public space. Okay. We're not even gonna go over stop and identify states. You know what? I am gonna make this a whole nother podcast just so I got other shit to bring you guys. So, because I've been on here for about 2 hours. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Thank you, Diane. You have a wonderful day too. Thank you for tuning in. I hope I taught you something new or you learned something new with this podcast. And again, hit that like button, hit that heart, share this. And tune in the next couple of days. I'm going to bring you another podcast just like this, and we're going to keep expounding on this and putting this shit out there. You know, I'm about to flood the game with law shit, so that way nobody could say they missed it. You know what I'm saying? It's not just going to be one episode. It's probably going to be one episode a week just on, you know, Cop Watch and the Cop Watch community. And expect to see me out there soon doing First Amendment audits. I shit you not. Expect to see me out there soon doing First Amendment audits. The same way he was doing. As soon as the weather breaks, you know I'm out there. Love you guys. Have a blessed day. See ya. I'm about to go back live later this afternoon. I got some other shit to talk about. So y'all will see me later tonight. Have a good day. I'm out of here.